This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City update for December 30th, 9 a.m. This past Monday, December 26th, we had a pretty significant blizzard affect the mid-Atlantic and northeastern United States. And as usual on hurricanecity.tv, we had the latest news and scanner, webcams, everything from the affected areas on hurricanecity.tv. Now here's a clip from that broadcast. This is a 9-minute clip available to archive subscribers, and what we start out with is the Virginia Beach webcam showing the beach areas with all the snow on it. I know it's kind of hard to see when there's snow conditions like this on a webcam, but we had scanner audio of the emergency workers having all kinds of problems trying to get to people in emergency situations, and this happened all up and down the northeastern seaboard during that storm. And you can hear some pretty interesting scanner audio from the area. Now the Norfolk and surrounding areas had about a foot of snow. Now this is the second snowiest December on record. They had about 14 inches of snow totaled up near Virginia Beach, where Bill Phillips lives, and Bill usually handles the broadcast when his area is affected by bad weather in Virginia Beach, but he was out of town at the time, so I went and took over the feed. So we don't have any of Bill's webcam shots from outside of his place, but they did get a lot of snow. There it is, up to 14 inches where Bill is located. So check that out when you get a chance. It's about 9 minutes long. Really interesting stuff from Virginia Beach. All right, the main reason for this update is the update to the Hurricane City database and rankings. Now this is the rankings page. This can be found in the drop-down menu on the front page of Hurricane City. Under products, it's the rankings of the cities. Now we still have number 1 Cayman Islands right here as number 1 on the list. Now it was pretty close this year for Cape Hatteras to jump the Cayman Islands as the number 1 area because of Hurricane Earl. Earl was over 70 miles to the east. Actually it was closer to 80 miles to the east of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, so made the judgment that this was not considered a brush. The criteria for the database is within 60 miles, and the reason it's a 60-mile criteria is that it could include all the small hurricanes, because there's been a lot of tiny hurricanes over the years, and this way we're really narrowing it down to show people direct hurricane impacts and named storm impacts based on brushes, because there have been storms in the past that have been over 100 miles away, or even in some cases 150 miles away, and have tropical storm force winds affect an area, but we don't not want to include that because it's not narrowing it down to direct hit impacts on cities and islands. So it remains the same. Cayman Islands number 1. The only reason they're ahead of Cape Hatteras is there's been more direct hurricane hits. Now a lot of cities cracked the top 50 this year because I decided to go ahead and add in extra tropical systems to the list. And there's been quite a few extra tropical storms over the years, especially when you get north of 30 degrees north. So Cape Hatteras and Morehead City, North Carolina, as well as Wilmington down here at number 4, all are in the top 5 now because of the fact that we added the extra tropical systems in there. So those areas all moved up. The North Carolina area is the most affected in the United States, and of course the Caymans are the most affected in the basin. But there's some interesting developments this year as far as cities are cracking the top 50. Let's look at this one. Look at this, number 9, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Now this is the northern edge of South Carolina, just south of Wilmington. And as you saw with Wilmington, it cracked the top 5. So Myrtle Beach isn't too far behind. They've been affected 56 times since 1871. So they are at the number 9 position. And another surprising development this year in the database is Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, which is in the southern portion of South Carolina. And they got all the way up to number 21. They were never in the top 50 ever. And so this area cracks it. They were affected 53 times in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. Again, the extratropical systems brought this up into the top 50. All right, another surprising development is the Canadian Maritimes cracked the top 50 this year due to the extratropical storm. Sable Island, Nova Scotia. This is that little island just south of Halifax, Nova Scotia. That's maybe 50, 100 miles or something south of Nova Scotia, the central portion of Nova Scotia. They've been affected 48 times, and surprisingly, they've had 17 direct hurricane hits in Sable Island, Nova Scotia. So they're at 2.90, ranked number 37. And another interesting development, Halifax, you also cracked the top 50 this year at number 42 right here. And they've been affected 50 times since 1871. And finally, Norfolk, Virginia, right here, they're ranked number 45, and they've been teetering on the top 50. They've been usually right below number 50 for the last several years. They cracked it this year by adding all the extra tropical systems in there. Now, Long Island also barely cracked the top 50, but was knocked out once we added the Canadian Maritimes in there. So areas up in the Northeast, Long Island, some of Atlantic City, New Jersey, areas like that, you're probably just out of the top 50. So in order for you to ever crack the top 50, you'd have to have a couple of quiet years for the Canadian Maritimes, and you guys would have to be affected in order to crack the top 50. So that's the way it works. If you have any questions about this, email me, jim@hurricanecity.com. There's an explanation of how this is done down at the bottom of the page. And if you find any discrepancies and you'd like me to double check on something, I'd be glad to do it. So anyway, looking forward to some feedback on this. That's it for now. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City, and I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year and good luck this coming year in 2011. And we'll be back next year with some more updates. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.